Well, Kal Gronvall called in with a special update. So without further ado, welcome back, Kal.
Hello, Chris, and I wanted to cover just a few things that might be pertinent, just to kind of give kind of an overall big picture. As we kind of talked about last week, the media is reporting, the great recovery now. According to Bernanke and Obama and everybody else, we've come out of the worst of the recession. They even have some notable people, Narelle Robini and some others, saying that this is a great thing now that we've stopped the recession, we're coming out of it. But and then of course they're grasping at every kind of straw they can, for evidence. And they, the other day home sales were up 7.2% in July, as opposed to June, which is the largest increase per month in 10 years. Well, then the article went on to say that they're buying foreclosures. So it's just like saying there was a run on the pawn shop, and people were getting, $250 items for $20. So it's all, and then Bernanke got the nod, it said, by Obama to be a Fed chairman again. Well, in actuality, we know that it's not the tail wagging the dog, it's the other way around. Bernanke just told Obama that he was going to be in for another session, just like Greenspan and all the predecessors. So they're still there. So things are still going on. Foreclosures are up, all record highs. Bankruptcies, state and tax revenues, state and federal tax revenues are way down. Entitlements are all up. We have $107 trillion worth of unfunded entitlement programs and everything else. The meltdown is continuing. We still have another 578,000 new jobs lost, in July. The bad news is that the meltdown is still going on. We're actually in a depression, not a recession. That hasn't changed. It's just getting worse. But with the increased meltdown goes the increased number of lies, the blanket of lies. Like Adolf Hitler said, the bigger the lie, the more frequently you tell it, the more people will believe it, and that's what's happening out in this country. But I wanted to make some, another observation. I read an article today. It was kind of shocking but very telling. It was from Yahoo Finance, but the title was "Consumer Strain: Pens and Notebooks Put on Layaway." And the article went on to say that never before in our history have retailers, especially Kmart, seen now people are putting in school supplies like notebooks and pens and black, magic markers, $20, $30 items on layaway, and because they have no money, So where's the recovery? It's unprecedented. What I wanted to do now is kind of develop they're just kind of observations. I've been in the gold business for like 13 years, and some things are just kind of dawning on me. I've seen a pattern over these years, and I'm just kind of now putting it into words. It's like a phenomenon, and it's just about always true. There are exceptions to everything, but what I've noticed is that people that have a little bit of money, and I don't want to put a number on this, but just for point of illustration, like if people have like $100,000 or less, and I found over the years that again, this is just through observation now, I'm just kind of putting these things together. The people that have like less than $100,000 are really kind of generally, now this is just generalization, but it has played out very, very specifically in my years in the gold business. People with a little bit of money, they really value it, and they really want to save it, they want to preserve it. And so the people who are tuned in to what's really going on, and they don't have that much, they want to save it. And even people who can't even buy 3, 4, or 5 months worth of food are thinking about buying a few silver coins, and that's one of the reasons that I have that page silver coin formula on my website, which basically gives the simple formula to figure out how much a dime or quarter, half dollar, silver dollar would cost like a coin shop if you just have, $50, $100, a couple $100 to spend. Like I said, I'm limited to I can't sell less than a quarter bag of silver, and that's a little over $3,000. So I provided that, and people, it's like the common people that don't have much. They're very attuned to what they have and what they don't have, and they're very interested to save what they have for them and their families. And so they say, well, maybe I can buy a few silver coins, and maybe I can store this and store that, and so they run around trying to save or preserve what little they do have. And generally, these people who are again tuned into the truth about what's really happening and see what's happening to our country, they're far more kind of simple and sincere, down to earth. I'm not trying to glorify them as opposed to somebody else, another group, but I'll get into that in a minute. So what I've noticed is that people who have, $10, $15, $20, $30, $40,000, I mean, they even though it's not that much in today's money, with the way inflation is and the way everything costs, they want to save like every dollar of it, and so they'll buy food and gold and silver and supplies, and when you talk to them about financial institutions, banks or Wall Street or something, most of those people, oh yeah, I don't want to do that, and I never done that, I never believed in it, and so those are the people. I've got a client in Kansas. It was kind of cute. He doesn't have much. He's bought a little bit of gold for me, and he just doesn't believe in the system. He says, he raises cattle. He said, well, all I need in these days is a little salt and pepper and ketchup, because my food's running around on the hoof. He says, my 401k program is in my backyard, and I just dug a hole, and that's where it is. Those are the kind of people that, they'll make it because they can see the danger coming. They can see what's happening to the system, and they're going to do something to get out of the way. Now, another bit on the converse or the contrary, there's a group of people or a category, whatever you want to say it, that have like maybe 100,000 up into maybe 1 or 2 million. I mean, they're wealthy by the world standards, but they're not the real big boys. The real big boys, in fact, I'll never forget, when I first got into the gold business, 1997, I read an article, wish I still had it, but I read an article that was written by Paul Volcker, the former Fed chairman, and we all know who he is. But he was saying, the very, very, very rich elite, they don't get involved in the stock market. They don't monkey with that. That's for the moving masses. When they make money, on a land deal or some big multi-million or billion-dollar deal, what do? They buy gold with it, and they store it in the basement of the Fed. There's seven stories of gold storage underneath the Fed, and it's private gold, private individuals from around 60 countries in the world. That's what they do with their money. And if they ever want to play in the stock market, they'll throw $50,000 at a stock or something here or there. But that's just pocket change for them. So then what they do is, of course, they want to control the masses. They want to keep the masses out of real money. In fact, I thought of a kind of a funny cartoon I wish I could draw. But I'd have Greenspan and Rubin and Bernanke standing in front of the Federal Reserve Bank, and so there's a kind of a cutaway of the bank, and then a side view that you can see. So in the bank, there's just mountains and mountains of gold bars and gold coins and everything else. So Greenspan and Bernanke and Rubin and Volcker are all standing in front of the Federal Reserve there, and the public is walking by, and then all these bankers have AR-15s or AK-47s in their hand, and obviously protect, because they're trying to protect what they've got.